Have you ever noticed, when folks talk about getting older, it's always about the golden years of your 60s or early 70s? Retirement dreams, maybe some travel, spending time with the grandkids. Sounds lovely, right? But I've spent decades in this field, and I've noticed something profoundly missing from those conversations. Nobody really talks honestly about what truly happens after you hit 80. It's almost as if, after that milestone, the world suddenly goes quiet. And if you're living it, or watching a loved one go through it, you know this isn't just a random thought. It's your body and your spirit trying to tell you something crucial about your well-being, your purpose, and even your future. You see, the biggest danger isn't always the physical stuff. It's the quiet erosion of identity, purpose, and connection that most people never discuss. But here's what I want you to know. In this video, I'm going to pull back the curtain on the 5 overlooked signs of life after 80 that can silently rob you of your joy and dignity. And if you stay with me until the very end, I'll share the most important secret to fighting back against invisibility, so you can reclaim your vibrant presence and live fully, truly seen and heard through all your precious years. Sign number 1. Emotional loneliness, even when surrounded. This first silent truth, and perhaps one of the most poignant I've witnessed in my decades of practice, is the profound sense of loneliness you can feel, even when surrounded by loved ones. This isn't about being physically isolated, not about living alone in an empty house. No, this is a deeper, more subtle emotional disconnection from within. It's a quiet, hard-to-describe feeling that you're no longer truly seen. That your presence, though acknowledged with polite nods and cheerful greetings, no longer carries the same weight in the room. You might smile, listen to conversations, and nod along, but inside, a silence grows. A silence that few people notice, and even fewer, sadly, ask about. So, why does this become particularly challenging as we age? Well, a big part of it, you see, is our generation. Many of us, myself included, were raised to be strong. We were taught to keep it in, to never burden others with our emotions or problems. We grew up believing that complaining was a sign of weakness, that you had to tough it out on your own. So, when sadness comes, and believe me, it absolutely does in these later years, we don't speak it. When grief lingers, we push it down, deep inside. And over time, this self-silencing, this habit of not wanting to be a bother, becomes a kind of invisible prison we build for ourselves. Adding to this is the natural thinning of our social circles. This is simply an unavoidable part of life. Closest friends, the ones who shared your deepest secrets and biggest joys, may have passed on. Weekly gatherings, traditional dinners, they gradually dissolve. Family, though they love you dearly, have their own busy lives. Kids have jobs, grandkids need care, and schedules are packed. Even if they still call or visit, it's not quite the same. Conversations often remain superficial, pleasantries about health or the weather. And because you don't want to seem needy, don't want to be a burden, you stay quiet. You quietly adjust to a life that feels a little hollower, accepting loneliness as an inevitable part of growing old. And here's the irony, a cycle I've observed countless times. The lonelier you feel, the less likely you are to reach out. You begin to withdraw, building those invisible walls around your heart. You keep conversations at a surface level. You pretend everything's fine, even when you wish someone, just one person, would ask what's truly going on inside. And because no one asks, the loneliness deepens. Not from a lack of people, but from a lack of genuine, deep connection. I've seen this play out over and over. Take the story of Sarah, one of my dear patients, 84 years young. She lives with her daughter's family in a cozy home in suburban Denver. She sees them every single day. But between school runs for the grandkids, her daughter's work-from-home calls, and the family's busy evening routines, no one truly talks with Sarah. Not in the way they used to, those deep, meaningful conversations, the small daily shares. Sarah often just smiles politely at the dinner table, thanks them for her tea, and retreats to her room. I can see it in her eyes, her heart heavy with unspoken feelings, but her gaze empty, as if no one truly looks into her soul anymore. But I want you to know this. If you're a senior and Sarah's story resonates with you, you are not broken. You are not weak. You are human. And what you're feeling is real, completely valid. But emotional loneliness doesn't have to be a permanent sentence. One deep conversation, a heartfelt letter written to an old friend you haven't connected with in ages, or even just an honest, true answer to the question, "How are you?" These small moments have incredible power to reawaken connection. So, I urge you, start by daring to open up, even just a little. Don't be afraid to share your true feelings with a trusted friend, a family member, or even a support group at your local community center. You deserve to be heard. You deserve to be seen. Remember, sometimes our own silence is the biggest barrier. The people who love you might be waiting for a signal. They just don't know how to reach you if you don't give them a chance. If Sarah's story or this feeling of loneliness resonates with you, please comment "Seen" below. It's so important, not just for me to see that you understand, but for others to know they are not alone. Sign number 2, physical retreat, when the body starts saying no. Now let's talk about another change, a subtle one, but one that deeply impacts your quality of life, the physical retreat. One of the most difficult shifts after turning 80 isn't always constant aches and pains. No, it's the hesitation. You start to hesitate before getting up from that comfy armchair. You pause for a moment before stepping into the shower. You weigh whether it's truly worth bending down to pick up that dropped pencil. Not because you're lazy or you don't want to do these things, but because somewhere along the way, your body started saying no more often than yes. This slow, physical retreat doesn't happen all at once. It's not a dramatic fall that lands you in the hospital or a sudden diagnosis that changes everything overnight. No, it's much more subtle than that. It begins with a quiet stiffness in the morning, making it harder to stretch out. A bit more breathlessness after a flight of stairs that you used to breeze up. A vague fear of slipping on the kitchen tile you've walked across thousands of times. And so, slowly, you begin doing less. At first, this seems smart, doesn't it? Prudent, maybe even safe. You think you're protecting yourself, avoiding unnecessary risks. But the longer you avoid movement, the more your body forgets how to move. Your muscles weaken rapidly. Your balance diminishes. Your reflexes are dull. And before long, the things you once did without a second thought, reaching for that cereal box on the top shelf, kneeling to tend your beloved rose garden, carrying a laundry basket down to the basement, now feel like challenges requiring careful preparation, or worse, complete avoidance. And it's not just the body that retreats. Your mind does too. You start to ask yourself, what if I fall? What if I can't get back up after a fall? What if no one hears me call for help? These what-if questions replay in your mind. And with each one, your world becomes a little smaller. Your home, once a place of adventure, now feels like a fortress you're reluctant to leave. But here's a crucial truth, something I want you to engrave in your mind. Motion is memory for your body. When you stop moving, your body forgets how. And that forgetting can age you faster than time ever could on its own. I had a patient named Robert, 81 years old. He used to take an evening walk around his block every single night, about a mile. But after tripping once on some uneven pavement, he stopped. "Just being cautious," he told me at his next appointment. "Don't want to take another tumble." But within 6 months, his legs had weakened significantly, his balance suffered, and his confidence evaporated completely. He started needing a cane, then a walker. Robert didn't stop moving because he was old. He got old because he stopped. It's a simple, yet incredibly powerful truth. The good news is, the body remembers too. Gently, patiently, but it does. You don't need to become a marathon runner. Start with small, intentional movements. Stretch your arms overhead every morning when you wake up. Practice standing up from a chair without using your hands. Walk down your hallway twice instead of once. Slowly, build it up. Every time you move, you're sending a powerful message to your body. I'm still here. I still matter. Keep going. And after 80, that message might just be the most potent medicine of all. So I want you to start moving, even just a little, every single day. Don't let fear keep you confined to a shrinking world. Let's reactivate your body, one gentle step at a time. Even a little regular movement can make a huge difference in how you feel. Don't overdo it. Listen to your body. But don't stop moving. Does Robert's story feel familiar to you? Comment "Move" below if you're committing to adding a little more movement to your day, starting now. I want to know you're with me on this journey. Sign number 3. The loss of personal rhythm and purpose. We often don't realize the critical importance of rhythm and purpose until they're gone. After turning 80, many people face a quiet shift that few are prepared for: the disappearance of daily rhythm and personal purpose. Think about it. In earlier decades, your days were clearly structured by responsibility. You got up for work. You drove the kids to school. You cooked meals, paid bills, and attended appointments. There was always something that had to be done, and with it, a reason to rise, to move, to engage with life. But after 80, those anchors often fade. There's no longer a job to show up for each morning. The phone doesn't ring as often as it used to. Family visits become more occasional than routine. And gradually, your calendar empties, leaving vast stretches of unscheduled time. At first, this might feel like freedom, right? Finally, rest, no rushing around. But over time, it can start to feel like aimless drifting. You wake up, but there's no urgency to get dressed. You eat lunch, but you can't quite remember what you did that morning. You sit by the window, watching the hours pass. Not exactly bored, but certainly not energized either. Without rhythm, days begin to blur. And without purpose, even the best health can feel strangely hollow. What most people don't realize is that the human body and mind thrive on structure, especially in later years. Routine gives life texture. Purpose gives life direction. When those are missing, the body slows down. Our brains start to quiet. And the heart begins to whisper, a painful question. What am I still here for? That's a question we absolutely need to answer. I had a patient named Eleanor, 87 years old. After her husband passed away, her book club stopped meeting due to dwindling members. Her volunteer role at the senior center ended when the center closed for renovations. Her days grew quieter, and so did she. "I just don't feel like myself anymore," she told me during a recent checkup. Not because of an illness, but because the rhythm of her life had gone silent. Her daily life had lost those landmarks, those focal points that made her feel useful, purposeful. The fix for this isn't some grand, complicated thing. It's gentle, and it's deeply personal. It's about finding those small daily rituals again. Watering your plants at the same time each day, writing postcards to friends every Sunday, listening to your favorite radio show with your morning tea. Small habits, repeated with care, become your personal, sacred rituals. They transform blank days into meaningful chapters in the book of your life. Because after 80, purpose doesn't need to be grand. It just needs to be yours. And remember, if you still have something, anything, that makes you look forward to tomorrow, you are not just living. You are still alive in every sense that matters. Even planning a weekly phone call with a loved one can be a precious rhythm. If you feel like you've lost your rhythm, please comment "rhythm" below. I want to know what new rhythm you'll find for yourself this week. Sign number 4. Unspoken fears about decline and dignity. Here's another truth I've heard from so many of my older patients, a heavy burden they quietly carry, but rarely voice aloud. After turning 80, many seniors secretly harbor a profound, yet unspoken, fear. They fear becoming a burden, but you'll rarely hear them say it directly. Instead, this fear manifests in small, careful behaviors that you might not even notice. You hesitate to ask for help, even when you truly need it, even if it's just opening a stubborn jar. You avoid mentioning your pain so you don't worry your children. You pretend you're not lonely because you don't want to seem needy or weak. On the surface, everything looks calm. You're still the strong grandpa, the resilient grandma everyone knows. But beneath that surface, there's a simmering worry. What if I fall and no one finds me for hours? What if I forget something important again? What if my family thinks I'm slipping? What if they start making decisions for me, taking away my autonomy? These aren't irrational, baseless thoughts. They're grounded in the real experiences of aging, where even well-meaning help can feel like a loss of control. And that control, you see, is deeply tied to our sense of dignity. When you've lived 8 decades, raised families, worked hard, survived losses, and adapted to countless changes in life, the last thing you want is to feel like you're disappearing into the background of your own life. You want to maintain your independence, your self-determination. But here's the tragedy. Because these fears are rarely voiced aloud, they often go unseen. Your family members might think you're doing just fine, while you're quietly grieving every lost piece of independence. From no longer being able to drive, to needing help with basic daily tasks. And because you don't want to be a burden, you hide how hard it truly is. I had a patient named Arthur, 85 years old. He was once a proud carpenter, a skilled craftsman who built countless things with his own hands. Now, he'd avoid asking for help opening jars or tying his shoes. "I don't want to bother anyone," he'd tell his son. But inside, he desperately missed the feeling of being capable, of being able to do things for himself without assistance. The silence surrounding his fear made him feel more alone than any physical symptom ever could. He was fighting this battle all by himself. But here's the truth, and I want you to remember this deeply. Needing support is not failure. It's not a weakness. It's life, and it's okay. In fact, speaking your fears aloud, even just once, can be incredibly liberating. It gives your family a chance to listen with love and understanding. It gives your doctor a chance to suggest real solutions, ways to support you while helping you maintain as much independence as possible. And most importantly, it permits you to be human with all your feelings and needs. So, I urge you, dare to voice your fears. Talk openly with your most trusted confidant. After 80, dignity isn't about doing everything yourself. It's about being seen, being heard, and being supported without shame. You are still you. You are still whole, and your voice still matters. If you've ever feared becoming a burden, please comment dignity below. We need to break this silence together. Sign number 5. Shrinking world syndrome. When life becomes too small. Finally, but certainly not least important, is what I call shrinking world syndrome. This is a quiet shift that happens to many people after 80, and it can deeply affect your spirit. The world around you begins to shrink. It starts subtly, almost imperceptibly. You stop going to that favorite grocery store because it's too far, or the traffic feels overwhelming. You avoid evening outings because driving at night feels unsafe, or perhaps your vision isn't what it used to be. You cancel lunch with a friend because the weather's a bit too cold, or the stairs up to the restaurant are a bit too steep. And before you know it, your world, once wide and full of experiences, has been reduced to just a few rooms in your house and a handful of repetitive routines. This isn't laziness or a lack of willpower. It's your body and mind's protective instinct at play. Your body is trying to conserve energy because it's not as abundant as it once was. Your mind is trying to avoid risk, steering clear of situations that could lead to a fall or an accident. And your heart is adjusting to a quieter pace, embracing the slowdown. But here's the cost, a heavy one. When your environment contracts, so does your stimulation, your mood, and your sense of aliveness. Our senses, sight, sound, movement, conversation, they constantly feed information to the brain. They keep us sharp, curious, and engaged with the world. When you see new faces, hear new voices, or experience a change in scenery, your brain lights up. It knows it's still part of a dynamic, living world. But when each day feels like the one before, same chair, same hallway, same silence, the mind begins to turn inward. And sometimes, it doesn't like what it finds there. The monotony, the sameness, can weigh heavily on your spirit. I had a patient named Betty, 89 years old, living in suburban Chicago. She used to love her Saturday hair salon visits, her weekly trips to the library for new books, and her strolls through the local farmers market. But after a hip injury, not even a severe one, she stopped all of them. It just felt easier to stay home, she told her daughter. Months later, her daughter noticed a significant change. Betty wasn't just less mobile, she was less joyful, less talkative, and seemed less like herself. That's the hidden cost of a shrinking world. You lose those little sparks, those simple daily joys that remind you that you're still alive, still part of this bigger world. The good news is, you don't need grand adventures or cross-country trips to reverse this. You don't need to spend a lot of money or exert too much effort. Start with small, manageable steps. Open your blinds in the morning and let the sunlight flood in. Step onto your porch and watch the birds for a few minutes. Invite a neighbor to visit for a 10-minute chat, just to hear a different voice. Rearrange your living room. Move a few pieces of furniture around. Try a new hobby, even a small one, knitting, a newspaper crossword puzzle, listening to a new genre of music. Let something change in your day, even if it's just a tiny shift. Because variety isn't a luxury in later life. It's essential mental nutrition for your brain and heart. And if your world has gotten smaller, don't despair. It's not too late to gently stretch it open again. Even one new experience a week can reignite that beautiful truth. You're still here, and there's still more life to live, more to experience. As we wrap up, we've explored these 5 critical aspects that can truly transform our golden years, shifting them from a quiet retreat into a season of renewed purpose. But knowledge, my dear friends, is only powerful when we put it into action. So now, I have one important question for you. A personal request. What is the one commitment you are making to yourself after watching this video. It doesn't have to be something grand. It could be as simple as, I will call a friend tomorrow, just to chat, or I will stand up and stretch every hour, or I will spend 5 minutes outside today. Please share your personal commitment in the comments below. Let's inspire each other to take that first brave step. Seeing your commitments will not only lift my spirits, but it will show others that they too can start small and make a big difference. And if you found real value and inspiration in our time together today, if this message resonated deep within you, please show your support by giving this video a like. It helps me know that these conversations truly matter to you. To ensure you continue on this journey with us, to make sure you never miss another video full of life-changing wisdom and practical advice, hit that subscribe button. It's more than just subscribing. It's joining a growing community, a family of individuals dedicated to living our best lives, together, with dignity, connection, and joy. Finally, I ask you to think of just one person who truly needs to hear this message today. One person who might be feeling unseen, unheard, or a little bit lost. Please, share this video with them. You might just be the one to light up their path and help them transform their own journey. Thank you for watching. Stay healthy, stay wise, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video, where we'll continue to explore how to make these golden years truly shine.